Hello everyone. I hope everybody is fine. Today we are going to have a discussion on important topic known as taxation. So all of us, me, you included, everybody is paying their taxes regularly and honestly. At the same time, it is also important for all of us to know what are its dimensions, why, what for they are meant actually, and what are its associated concepts. So today we'll be having deliberations on the various aspects relating to the taxation, and we'll try to explore as to why it is really significant for any country to impose some sort of taxation policy. So, hi, I'm Professor P.K. Pathak, going to have a detailed discussion on the taxation in general. So, let us have the presentation at perspective. And before that, I'm going to request you once again that please do like, share, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Keep on receiving the interesting videos as usual. So on this note, now I'm going to share the slides. I hope all of you can see the slide. Okay. Okay. So this is the tax. As you can see, everybody is feeling a burden kind of. By the pick itself, we can be able to establish the fact that everybody is feeling the same way. So what is the taxation per se? So taxation is something, which is imposed by force by government of any country, and for that they are not paying, not doing any service, not giving something in return to that. Okay, so let us explore it further. It applies to all types of involuntary levies from income to capital gains to estate taxes. So the government of any country, it is levying the taxes, and for the simple reason that the government of any country, it does not have any source of income, and to be able to discharge its administrative duties, it requires some sort of funding. So what is the way out? The way out is its citizens. So from all its citizens, it is collecting some taxes on the basis of various parameters, and the same funding is being utilized for the growth of the country in the long run. So what happens is tax is occurring on the physical assets, including the property and transactions. For example, the sale of stock or the home or the real income that you are generating by just doing a job somewhere or through a business. Okay, so the taxation again, as it is felt by everyone, is like this only. Everybody is feeling a lot of load while paying the taxes, but you should also be aware of the fact that the government as such, it cannot do anything for you for your benefit in case you're not able to pay your right kind of taxes. So let us see for the dimensions of the tax. It is not directly tied to any service rendered. I told you earlier, the government is not going to render any service for you as such, and it is direct and compulsory levy through any implicit or explicit threat of force. So if somebody, if it is he is not paying, there will be a income tax rate, and he will be, he will have to pay the recovery. And it is legally different from extortion or a protection racket, because this is happening, as you might have seen in the Hindi films, that the dons, dons from the areas, they just charge extortion, or in the name of protecting the businessmen or from the people, informally they collect some amount of money. So it is not that, because it is being levied by the government of the country, and so therefore you cannot just compare this with the extortion or the protection racket, which is totally illegal. And the taxes are different across jurisdiction and the time horizon, as you might have felt. So even in our country, if you go to some other state, the tax structure will be quite different. And before the imposition of the GST, it was the case in almost everything. But right now, it is just limited to few odd things like petrol and diesel and few others. Okay. Mostly, the things have been made uniform now by implementing the GST, that is the goods and services tax. And the formulation of tax policies is one of the most critical and contentious issues, as you might have seen, Every day in the media, the opposition is charging the government of the day, irrespective of which government is in power. And they always charge of putting the wrong kind of taxes on the people, and thereby increasing burden on already burdened people. So these are some of the different types of taxation. So what are all they? Income tax, as the name suggests, whatever income you are generating. Okay, so the income could be either you're a salary class and you are getting salary, so income from that is treated as income, and you have to pay some taxes. Also, for the business people, if they have invested in some business, they must be getting some dividend, and on that dividend they have to pay the taxes. Or even if they have put somewhere in the form of debenture, and what is a dividend and what is the debenture, I already have explained in a different video. Named shares, debentures, and preferential shares. So you can just watch my video, and you'll be able to know what exactly the shares are, debentures are, and the preferential shares are. So as of now, I just can tell you that you have to pay taxes on the dividend, and you also have to pay taxes on the interest that you have received on your investments. Corporate taxes are charged for from the profit of a business. Okay, so if somebody is doing business and there has been some profit in the business, so there will be some tax levied from the government side, and it will have certain percentage as per the policy. Then what is capital gain? Capital gain is by selling some stocks or bonds or the real estate, the land, building, plant, all those things. When you gain something, you have to pay some taxes on that. As far as the property tax goes, this is the duty of the local government, like municipal corporation, to assess, to make the right kind of assessment as to what is the valuation of the property and how much tax is to be given for that. And then the individual who is holding the property, he needs to pay the tax accordingly. The next comes is the inheritance tax. So somebody, he is inheriting some property from a deceased person, he is also supposed to pay taxes on the total valuation of the property inherited by him or her. And finally, the sales tax. So this is for the consumption. Sales are being made in order of a consumption by certain consumers. So for every consumption, you need to pay some taxes, and these things have now been made uniform by introduction of the VAT earlier, and now it is the GST, and so the sales tax are also imposed. So these are some of the important types of tax, and I think you have got ample idea about what exactly they mean. Okay, so now why do we need to pay the taxes? So on the sarcastic note, you can see the only sure things in the life are death and the taxes. And the role of the tax is to help governments, as you know, the government is not having any kind of additional income, but it has to discharge its responsibility in terms of national growth and development, providing infrastructure, public works, all these things, and even for facing the wars. So it requires to have some amount of money with it, and so therefore the taxes are to be levied on different individuals. And one more justification is that higher taxes needs to be imposed on certain specific products and services in order to ensure that it acts as a deterrent to the consumptions, like tobacco. So if more taxes are imposed on the tobacco, there is all likelihood that there will be less consumption. Okay. So these are some of the countries which have the highest income taxes, and you can just see 60%. So the taxes are ranging from 50 to 60, and there are 9-10 odd countries which are having this high tax structure. So irrespective of what your income level is, you end up paying more than half of your income to the government of the country. But then on the contrary, there are certain countries which do not have any income tax on their citizens. So there are a handful of the countries. Let us see what they are. These are some of the countries like Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Oman, Kuwait, Qatar, Bahrain, Bahamas, Bermuda, and the Cayman Islands. So these are some of the countries which have zero income tax. And how then they pull on their government's expenditure? They subsidize their budgets with the exports rather than the taxes. At the same time, they also impose very high sale taxes or the corporate taxes. So income tax therefore is zero. Now let us understand some of the facts, 4 facts about the personal taxation and the corporate taxation. As I told you earlier, the personal taxation can be on the earnings, that is in the form of dividends and the interest. We have a discussion on that in the previous slide. Also capital gains from disposal of the investment. But you will not be having to pay any tax for the tax-free municipal bonds which you might have invested in. As far as the corporate taxation goes, you see the conduct should be very clear. The corporate financing sources can be broadly categorized into two. One is equity, the other one is debt. So equity is nothing but the owner's capital. So owner has decided, to put some money into it, and a part of that owner's capital is converted in the form of share, and people are even offered that, look, you can buy some shares of this company and you can become the shareholders of the company. So one is the form of equity, the other one is debt. And how you can take a debt? You can acquire loan from various agencies, including the form of debenture. So what is happening is, in the equity, you are not getting any tax benefit because you have to pay some dividend to the shareholders, and shareholders need to pay the taxes on the dividend. So there is no relaxation in the tax for that matter. Okay. And what about debt? Debt is, of course, it is giving some relaxation in the tax, because once you have generated the profit, the interest on the debt that you have taken is to be paid first, and then the remaining portion of the profit is only charged for the tax. So when you are having a debt, then definitely you are getting some benefit in the form of relaxation in the tax. So what should you do? The cost of debt is lower than the cost of equity, because on the equity you are paying tax, but on the debt you are not paying tax. So therefore, people believe that it is always better to take a debt and invest in the business. But if you do it more, I mean, there has to be some proportion. But if you have exceeded the limits, definitely it is going to have impact in the form of financial risk. So sometimes it may happen that the debtors will not allow you to go ahead with the business, and they will create certain problems. So it is always very judicious to divide your financing in terms of the equity and debt, so that you are getting maximum tax advantage, as well as you do not face any kind of financial risk. So I hope now you have got adequate idea about what the taxation is and how the people are having to pay the taxes, what is its benefit, what are its roles, and how the government is spending these things in the for the right cause and for the national development. So that's all for the day. I hope you have enjoyed the today's presentation. I urge all of you to do like, share, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and keep on receiving interesting videos. This is my email ID. In case somebody wants to connect with me, you can do so. I can provide expertise on any of your managerial problems. So on that note, I conclude for the day. Okay, and I thank all of you for watching this video, and stay tuned and have a nice day. Okay.